name is Lulanga Sydney. I'm the tutor for Human Resources Management and Development 2. Let's look at the learning outcomes. The learning outcomes are the competencies that you are expected to attain at the end of the presentation or at the end of the course. There are mainly two major competencies that you'll be expected to attain. The first one is that you should be able to demonstrate that training improves performance. And the second one is that you should be able to apply the techniques for recruitment, selection, etc. in your work. Human resource management and development talks about two major things. The first one talks about how to manage people in the organization from the point that they enter the organization, and also it also looks at how you identify people who should join the organization. It looks at recruitment and selection process. It looks at induction, orientation. It looks at maintaining people. It also looks at training and development, which is the development aspect, and then how to exit people from the organization. So there are a number of factors that come when we are looking at human resource management and development. There are both internal and external factors or trends, patterns. What organizations realize is that there are some internal factors or internal patterns that affect human resource management and development. There are also external factors or external patterns or trends that affect the organizations as well. When we are looking at the internal factors, we use mostly PESTO analysis, which is PESTO analysis stands for political, economic, social, technological, ecological, and legal. External factors, we are mostly looking at those areas. When it comes to internal factors, we are looking at SWOT analysis. We are looking at the strength that the organization affects itself or finds itself in, or what are its strong points. We also look at the weaknesses that the organization realizes about itself. What are the opportunities and what are the threats? So those two areas we need to consider. Now, we realize that when it comes to internal and external trends, we are most looking at the law, legislative, social demographics, business trends. All these affect the organization. These are coming from outside. The legislative, the law. But the company also finds itself that it may have its own policies, it may have its own procedures, it may have its own regulations. So these, together with the Constitution, together with, for example, the Labor Act of 22July17, it formulates the legislative arm, and then the social demographics, society, and then the different issues to do with gender, to do with ethnicity, to do with race, and all kinds of stuff. And then the business trends, the competition that it faces, different companies more or less in the same line of business. They exert pressure for the organization to change, to adjust. Many organizations are also finding it easier to make technical changes rather than human resources changes. So you find that organizations would be ready to invest into technology, for example, sending people for training, sending people for development, but not really hiring new staff, getting rid of the staff, staff that is not productive or adding value to the organization. So the ability to adapt human resources to new requirements is proving, for example, to a number of organizations as a limiting factor for its success. So why should we be concerned about HRM&D, or Human Resources Management and Development? Why is this becoming more important? It's becoming more important because of the skills shortage in key areas. So organizations find themselves redundant in certain areas and they have the number of people, but those number of people cannot perform in certain areas. So you find there's skills shortage in key areas, especially to do with IT. And then the requirement to foster management teams capable of accomplishing more with less, because remember, there are two things that organizations look at. It looks at the input, and then it looks at the output. The output should justify the input. And the less the organization spends, the more it wants to get as profit. And then there's also the issue about the diverse workforce. More women coming in the workplace, more minority groups coming into workplaces, and therefore this is bringing about certain challenges in the workplace. Then there's also the issue of containing human resources costs in the context of trend by governments to offload training and development, health benefits and other costs to corporations. So the government is saying, different governments are saying human resource costs should be incurred by the organizations or businesses that employ these people. The other issue why human resource management and development is becoming more important is the social and legislative changes. For example, equal pay, performance appraisal or performance based compensation. Those are bringing excess pressure or excessive pressure on organizations, and organizations are starting to revisit the issue of human resource management and development, and also the issue of challenges making the most of the staff, optimum use of human resources. And we find that a number of people who may have the qualification, who may be qualified on paper, or who may be qualified or be able to do certain things, they tend not to be utilized fully and utilized properly. Then there's also the issue of corporate downsizing, doing less for more, or doing with less for more. Downsizing, restructuring, employees, or companies going more technological, investing more in the technical aspect, and investing less in human resources. All these factors, together with the sophistication that comes with the jobs of today, what differentiates one organization from the other is talent, know-how, qualifications, skills, experience. So it helps the organizations to make the transition between levels of less difficulty with more difficulty, the issue about quality, rendering the probability of being able to learn from this, to provide skills that are less found elsewhere, creating the differentiation between this organization from the other organization for survival purposes. So we find that the available workforce is becoming more diversely based, more women, more minority groups, and then organizations are also finding that a number of people who join them they have qualifications, but the qualifications do not justify their performance. So you find that the literacy levels, numerous levels, the technical skills that these people, graduates, postgraduate, or graduates who are incorporated in the company, they do not meet the scratch, and therefore organizations find themselves stuck, and therefore they try to invest into training and development of these personnel. Now, what is the importance of human resource management and development? The first one is they need to plan more systematically for the people required to staff and manage organizations now and in the future is critical. Organizations look at themselves today. They don't want to make losses. They also see themselves at another level tomorrow, and therefore they need to have the required human resources, the people with the right competencies, the right skills, right attitude towards work, and therefore that's where human resource management and development comes in. So such planning can be done effectively in organizations of any size with the help of human resource management and development. Without the support of human resource management and development, that cannot be realized. With the support of such tools, human resource management staff have increasingly been able to demonstrate that they can contribute positively towards the growth of organizations, making the organizations realize their objectives, realize their goals, and also living or realizing the strategic plans that they have in place. So human resource management and development helps organization to realize its strategic plans. So the objective of human resource management and development is to ensure that there are sufficient numbers of competent and motivated employees to meet an organization's need now and in the foreseeable future. Now, when we look at human resource management and development in a strategic corporate decision making, we say that this should result in a number of factors. The first one is that we need to understand it. Human resource management and development helps us to understand human resources implications of business or operational strategies. It also helps us to be aware of the experience, knowledge, or abilities that are found within the organization itself through its people. It also, human resource management and development highlights the importance of productivity, highlights the importance of quality. It also, the area of quality, whether it's service delivery, products themselves, differentiation, competitive advantage, human resource management and development highlights that. It also highlights the importance of proper selection and recruitment processes in place, the development of potential replacements for key or vulnerable positions. So human resource management and development helps the organization to realize that you need to have the right people in the right place at the right time. So there's also the issue about demand and supply forecasting, which human resource management and development highlights. And demand forecasting, here we are talking about the structure of an organization's workforce, including the number of employees that may be required with specific skills in defined positions. Is mostly defined from the organization's strategic or business plan. So we look at that, we forecast we are looking at the future. Then there's also supply forecasting. Here we are looking at the availability of human resources to meet these demands. Where can we find such people? Do these people exist? Whether from within the organization itself or from the external labor market. So the demand and supply forecasting is key when it comes to human resource development and management and development. Now, for us to realize this demand and supply forecasting, we need to have reports, what you call human resource management and development reports. Now, these reports help line management answer such questions as, are there any special business or economic factors that are likely to have major effects on the organization over the next 1 to 5 years? What will the organization unit look like in 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? What organizational problems are being experienced? What organizational challenges are we experiencing? What human resources challenges or problems are we experiencing? How can we address these issues? So human resource management and development highlights the issue of the significant parts of the data required for human resources planning. So it looks at this and it says that these significant parts of the data required for human resources planning should be resident in the human resource management and development reports, and should and an analysis capability, once it's done, it will help us to realize that the relationships need to be drawn from such data, and the results of this analysis should be reported in a clear, user-friendly form. So human resources management and development helps us to know what is on the system, as well as how to conduct the requisite analysis and report the results, providing human resources personnel with a golden opportunity to gain credibility with line management in an area that is becoming increasingly important, the long-term health of an organization. So an organization, to be considered healthy, it needs to have the right people in the right place at the right time. The human resources practitioner should be able to use human resource management and development report to provide statistical overviews for the whole organization, as well as each unit involved in human resources or development planning. The overview should summarize fraud data such as recruitment, separations, promotions, transfers and turnover, personal data of employees, such as gender, designated group for employment equity purposes, language, group level, age, and years of service. So all the data that is entered, it also comes with human resource management and development reports also provide more detailed assessments of this data, and this helps, it needs to be conducted with line management, where any information can be added that is not formally contained in the human resource management and development. And we look at the work environment, whether training or development needs to be put into effect, who needs to be trained on what, when, and what will happen if this person goes for training. All that needs to come out in the report. So the report should contain, or at least have access to, job description information that needs to be related to the detailed information on the positions and organizational structure. It should also have the capability of presenting this information quickly and flexibly in user-friendly form. So human resource management and development can then be used to provide information on current employees, future employees. On current employees, what we'll be looking at is latest performance review, career development reports that need to be completed and entered on the system, summary reports of this information prepared by human resources practitioners and supplied to line management beforehand can be used to refresh memories regarding individual strengths, weaknesses, potentialities, areas that need improvement, career interests, and development plans. So the organizational charting function of an human resource management and development report should be able to show the relation of such key or vulnerable positions to each other and to other positions in the organization, that's providing a graphic overview of the health of management depth of the organization, as well as the areas of weaknesses or challenges that need to be addressed. So human resource management and development is often done by committees. These reports, these analyses, these assessments, they are normally done by committees formed from the senior management team of the organization unit, concerned with the head of the unit as chair, and then human resources practitioner as a resource person. Such committees, their issue is, or their area is to reconcile the demand of personnel, the required skill mix, and the available supply reflected in the career planning and development information, and then the summary reports made available through human resource management and development reports. Then the committees will examine this information in the context of what the unit requires now and for the future, both generally and for specific positions. The committee will also take note of the employment equity considerations. So in conclusion, what have we said about human resource management and development? What we have said is that the main basis for human resource management and development is that the organizational requirements along with the resources need to complement and support each other. It is generally more effective and economic to develop human resources internally, but when this is not viable or this is not possible, you need to go outside and allow these people to go for training and development. Also, we should allow some movements of people in order to infuse new blood in the organization to continue adding value, adding the issue of creativity and innovation, both for existing employees and for the newcomers.